Hello. So it's Friday, and what I want to start trying to do more of on Fridays are these live streams where I talk about new things that are going on with SubAligner. SubAligner is the project I've been working on for the last couple of years, where I try to teach a robot how to do subalignment and therefore make our jobs as sound engineers easier. So what I'm going to be talking about today is the new 3D model in SubAligner, and it looks like this on the alignment position page. So as we're going through here, if any of you guys have questions or suggestions about this, please type it into the chat. So let me know anything you'd like me to talk about. So hopefully you guys can see me and hear me, because last time I did this, my audio wasn't working right away. So hopefully it's working now, and you'll let me know if it's not. Okay, so this is pretty cool, and I'll tell you guys that this is not a feature that anybody asked for. This is a feature I added for fun, mostly, because I was taking a class in JavaScript and I needed some project to work on. And I had been wanting to do something like this to see if I could put in a three-dimensional design into the web page here. And so it ended up being kind of a visual aid for this form that you have to fill out here. And the reason that I mention that is because what I'm trying to do with version 2 here of SubAligner is not add more and more features that are just my ideas that I think people might like. Because what happened with version 1 is that I added a lot of stuff that nobody really asked for, and then I ended up kind of supporting all these features that I wasn't really sure if people really needed. And so now I'm sort of waiting until people ask me for things, and then I prioritize those on the to-do list. You know, the next features, the next bugs to fix, the next speakers to add, things like that. Anyway. This is going to be pretty fun because it allows you to have a better idea of what you're doing while you're filling out this form. Several people have already messaged me to say, hey, what does this term mean and what does that term mean? So we're going to go through that today. Okay, so this is the search page that you normally end up on when you start using SubAligner. And so if you just click the one-to-one preset, then you jump straight to the alignment position page. And I'll remind everyone that this page is completely optional, and there's a text box here that explains that. So if you ever forget, because what I see a lot of people doing who are new to SubAligner for the first time is they get to this page and they see all these buttons and they think, oh, I have to fill out everything, and they never read this. So you don't need to do this. You can always skip this page and just go over here. I put this page in version 2 because a lot of people had questions about where they should place their measurement microphone, where they should take their distance measurements from, how to choose an alignment position. And so that's what this page attempts to do. Okay, so what about the 3D design? So this design works a lot like the modeling software that you use. If you just click, you can orbit. And if you command click on a Mac, I'm not sure what it is on a PC, you can then pan. And then if you move the scroll, what do you call the wheel? Excuse me. If you move the wheel on your mouse, then you can, oh, it also looks like shift left click also pans, and just a regular click orbits. And then the wheel on your mouse will zoom in and out. And that's very similar to, you know, Sound Vision, Map 3D. I'm guessing a lot of design software works that way. And I'm already seeing a problem that I didn't notice before, which is that the y-axis is missing. So because everything in this form is relative to the axis labels, I wanted to make sure those are really clear. So it might be a little bit annoying, but That's why this has X and Z for the X and Z axis. And then right here, it's supposed to say Y, but you can see it's black instead of green. So I will get that fixed. But this brings us to our first feature, which is if you're like moving around in the design and you kind of get lost and you like end up in this kind of place, then you can always click this button, reset zoom, and it'll zoom out and try to basically fit to extents, you know, get the entire drawing onto the screen. And this button has another function that I'll get to here soon. But the reason that I think that this design will be really helpful for some people and not just a fun thing to sort of spin around on the screen here is that as soon as you click into one of these form inputs, the camera of the design will zoom directly to that element. But I think when I click into here, it's not actually going to do anything. So I click into here. No, it doesn't do anything, because what I discovered through a little bit of user testing is that people really didn't like it if they were, you know, you find the perfect position here where you want to look at the design and you say, ah, this is exactly what I wanted. And then if you click in here and it moves, then that's really annoying. So if you click into the design here and move it around, it's not going to move anymore for you automatically, unless you click reset zoom, because now it thinks, oh, okay, you want me to handle some of the zooming and camera action for you. So now when I click in here, now it's going to zoom in to where the subwoofer is, because this is sub depth relative to mains. And so now when I start updating this, and I put in here 1 or 2 or 3, you can see that the sub starts moving forward into the positive direction towards the audience on the x-axis, right? And I can also go the other direction. So if I put in -4, for example, now we're farther away from the audience into the negative direction on the x-axis. And then I can reset this to 0, where it was when we started. And that's it if you have a center place sub, because I'm trying to only make you fill out, you know, the minimum amount of information, the minimum amount of form elements here to get the job done. And so now you could click submit and you could get over into the form to finish filling out any number of elements or distances. But let's take a look at what would happen if we have uncoupled subwoofers here. So you see that the form gets bigger, and now it might make more sense why we have this drawing, because now we have these, you know, 6, 7, 8, 9, possibly 10 elements here to fill out. And now we might want something that tells us what we're doing when we click in here, especially if, you know, you're not familiar with 3D modeling software. Oh, I just realized that the title is on my face. Sorry about that. Okay. And going back to the chat. Right, so we have a few things to fill out here. So you might not know what a ray span is. I tried to use industry standard terms. Let me know if you have better ideas for what these terms should be. But a ray span is something that I see in, pretty sure it's in Sound Vision. I'm not sure, or maybe that's Map 3D. It doesn't matter. I thought that would be the best term, but a lot of people were asking me what that is. So if you don't know what that is, and you click on here, then it takes you to the side of this speaker. And you still might not know what it is, but as soon as you start typing in numbers, and you see that the speaker gets taller and taller, as you type in numbers, you realize, oh, array span is the height, the span from the top to the bottom. So that's array span. What about array bottom height? What does that mean? Well, again, that might not mean much, but as soon as you start changing numbers here, so if you put in 1, you'll see, oh, it looks like I'm, you know, right almost on the ground. So if I put this on the ground, now I am on the ground. Now I'm, it's hard to see because the subwoofer is like in it now, right? So now I'm in the subwoofer. And if we turn this way, we can see Oh, now the center of the array, okay, it's like on the ground now. Interesting. So, and now I can reset zoom so that we can have this handled for us automatically. I click in here, and now we can see the edge of it again. So now we see that array bottom height should be more clear to us what that value is. Okay, what about sub distance from the center? So I click in here, and then it goes to plan view, right? View from the top. And we might not know what this is, but we put in 1 and we see, oh, okay, the subs are right next to each other now. So what if I go to 10? What if I go to 20? Subs are farther apart. Okay, sub distance from center makes more sense to me. We played with this one earlier. That's sub depth relative to mains. Audience depth, first row. This should be pretty clear, but again, hopefully without me needing to explain anything, because there's nothing else here on the page, but let me know if anything else needs to happen here on the page. With nothing else here on the page, I can still click into audience depth first row and start playing around with this and seeing, hopefully, oh, nothing happens until you fill out both of these. That's why. So might not be clear at first, but you're saying, hey, the audience starts at 20 meters and ends at 50 meters. So nice little short audience there. What happens if we change it to 60? Now we see the audience getting longer. And what if we change it to 100? Now we have a much deeper audience there. The seated head height and the standing height changes the height of the audience, as you would expect. And then from meters to feet, that just makes a little change there. It's a little bit more obvious with the standing head height. Okay, because otherwise all of these numbers are basically unitless. And so here you're choosing the unit for all of them. Okay, distance reference from below array. This might be the most confusing one. And if it's too confusing and it's not helpful for people, then I'll end up taking it out. But what I realized is that what a lot of people will be doing, and what I have done sometimes, is that I'm actually standing underneath the array. So let's get underneath the array. Or maybe I'll rotate it around a little bit. So what we are doing sometimes is, let's see, let me find a drawing tool, is that sometimes you're going to stand right here and you're going to put your laser on the ground and then you're going to aim up at the speaker. And what that means is that you're aiming up at the center of the speaker. But for all of these calculations, we're calculating from the front of the speaker. So what this does, and we'll be able to see from the side here, is this introduces a minor offset there. See how everything moves forward by the, just half of the speaker depth, half of the array depth? That's because that's where your reference is. You are standing below the speaker, taking a measurement up to the center. So it's a minor difference, but in the interest of accuracy, I thought it would be helpful to include here. And so then if you are taking your measurements with your laser disto from under the sound system, aiming up to basically the middle of the box, right? That's not pointing at the middle. Let's zoom in. I can show you exactly what I mean. Oh, too far. So if you're aiming up to the center of the box here instead of the front, then you would want to click this, and then we need to know what the array depth is, right? So if I click in here, it should zoom in, and now we can say, hey, the array is 3 meters in depth. And you can see that it's getting deeper from the center because that's where my reference is. I'm saying the reference is from below the array. Okay? So I'll leave this at 2. So we fill all that stuff out. Hopefully this form was helpful, and then we click submit, and then we get into the next part of the process here with SubAligner. But yeah, I'm curious if this is helpful for you guys, if you've tested it out. Did you run into any problems? Did it help you fill out the form? I will tell you that this does work in mobile. I just tested it, and basically it's one finger or two fingers. So one finger you can orbit the design, so it's just like clicking with your left mouse button here, orbit the design. And then with two fingers, then you can pan and zoom. So two fingers to, pan or zoom. And then all of these reset buttons should work as well. Now it's a little bit harder on mobile. I have probably one of the smallest iPhone screens that you can have. And when you're filling out this form, you don't see this because the form takes up the whole screen. I can show you what that looks like, I think. Let's try this. So I don't have an iPhone SE, but I have an older model iPhone that looks like this. Okay. And so this is what you see when you fill out the form, especially if you go to left, right. Now you only see the form. So I'm not sure exactly how to handle this. Let me know if you have any ideas. One idea I had was to maybe take this form and put it on top of the design so you can try to see both at once. But what you currently have to do is, as you're filling out this form, then you'll need to click into here and then scroll down, and you'll see the form, and you can, move around, do whatever you want to do, zoom back out, and then you'll have to scroll back up and work on the form some more. Eventually, you won't need this picture anymore because you'll know what these are, and then you can just fill out the whole form and then scroll down and just see, did I do what I expected to do here? Let's see what this looks like on a bigger phone real quick, just for fun. So I'm not sure exactly how big an iPhone 14 Pro Max is, but in this case, we still basically just see the form. Now, if we have the smaller version of the form, now some of it fits on the page, right? And now we can kind of see that design. Cool. So there's maybe one other thing to show you, and it's not super critical, but a lot of people were confused. Since I've created this app, a lot of people have been confused by the name one-to-one. And I've never really had a good idea until now. I think this is a better idea. So it's still called one-to-one, but now in parentheses it says time alignment. Not because that's what it is, but because that's what it does. So we use the one-to-one preset here for just equalizing any distance offset and basically solving a distance problem doing time alignment. So if things are arriving out of time, we time align them by delaying one so that it's arriving in sync with the other. So again, I'm curious what you think about this. Is this better? Is there something we could call this? Other ideas that people have given me are, generic source or full range or something like that. But I don't love any of those yet. But I don't know. It's not for me. It's for you. So let me know if you think that would be better. But right now I'm liking one-to-one time alignment. And now if you click on this, and then you go to the next page, now it says, instead of total one-to-one in system, it says total source one in system, total source two in system. So I hope that's more clear. And yeah, test out the new sound system model and let me know what you think. All right, thanks everybody.